Sources. All right. Hold on. I know you guys are there. Mike Splash 2. And there I am. Video capture device. All right, this is working out. What's up, everybody? I'm Stony. Wait, you're not on the screen yet. My name is Stony. I'm an old fat guy who is doing his best to direct a live stream, and sometimes I do all right, sometimes I don't. Thank you for joining us and hitting the play button. Man, something funny. So the coronavirus totally messed with my riding. The riots totally messed with my riding. Finally got a caregiver to take care of my mom on Friday mornings, and I was excited. I'm like, all right, I can look for John Yu and Steve Kolb and maybe even go hang out with Dustin and just do some filming and ride, and I was all excited. And then I fell down the stairs. I couldn't have Superman down those stairs anymore at right around 4 in the morning. So now I'm limping. I can walk, but there's no way I can ride a ramp anytime soon, or flatland, or even jog or gallop. So that's where I'm at right now. I hope everybody out there is doing way better than I am. I'm excited about tonight. Tonight's been quite a while in the making. My guest tonight is going to be Mike Carmody. Mike was the self-proclaimed first OFG superfan, or first OFG biggest fan ever, as he told me. And he came out from Ohio, and he came to the Crown Point show, and we hung out, and I met him, and he's a really good guy. So let me find him. There he is. Welcome to OFG Livestream, Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. This is awesome.
How you feeling? How you doing out there?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's hot, but all is well. I hope everything's okay. I hope you can see. It's kind of starting to get dark here a little bit, but I can see you just fine.
You look fantastic. So
okay, good.
I'm excited to do this. I have so many questions for you, and I'm going to hop all over the place. So please don't get irritated with me.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm an open book until I close it.
Well, we did. You messaged me because you had stumbled upon the OFG videos at one point or another. Speaking of which, I need to put my OFG watermark on the screen. There we go. Put it right here. Okay. Do you remember what you found or how you found OFG? I'm just completely curious.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Facebook or if it was YouTube, but I do remember. Of course, this has been several years ago. This is very early on in OFG, and I just remember it was very nostalgic. You know, I felt this kindred spirit with this guy named Stoney that I had never met before, that I knew nothing about, and I kind of just locked in with that, and locked in with you. And then you and I just began to converse a little bit, and I just kind of just followed the journey all along. I don't think I've ever missed an episode as far as I can remember.
That's awesome. But what made...
Yeah, and I truly am a super fan.
Well, what made you, like, that's a long drive, Ohio to Crown Point, Indiana. Was that 4 or 5 hours longer?
Yeah, I think it's about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, something of that nature. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, what made you commit to, I'm going to drive out there and meet the OFG guys?
Yeah, so again, there's this kindred spirit, and I think that most would attest to that. You know, you want to ride, you want to, as you know, I collect and build and do all that stuff, but I listen, the fact of the matter is we're getting older, and we can't always, we don't have the energy, the stamina, the physical wherewithal to ride and do all that we want to do. but we do need to connect with one another. And as we get older, I think we can all agree that we need one another. So I wanted people in my life that felt the same way, enjoyed the same things, and just really watching your videos just said, come hang out. That's the way I felt. So yeah, I made the trek. Obviously I bought a handful of parts as well and met a bunch of people. And really that event set a lot of things in motion for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I met so many people, and since then have met so many people. And it was shortly after, I think, that I began the Unbelievable Grails page, which is this kind of evolved into something, morphed into something I would have never dreamed of. But yeah, just wanting to get to meet you and see what that was about, and I'll never regret that trip.
I can tell you this now, and Heather will attest to this. I was a little nervous because it was new.
As well, you should be.
It was new to me. I was like, so this dude's gonna drive all the way out from Ohio just to meet me? And it didn't compute, but it's interesting because what started my OFG journey was waking up one day and driving to New Jersey and hanging out with Scotty Kramer on a whim. And then
Wow.
fast forward about a year later, you kind of followed the same footsteps. And I don't think you planned it that way, but it just kind of worked out pretty well,
Yeah, the good Lord just has a way of working things out and putting all the pieces together.
That's awesome.
It's been a journey, it truly has.
Well, let's talk some BMX. You want to talk some BMX?
Let's do that. I'm all about it. You know that.
Well, the first question I ask almost everybody is, what is your very first, and I genuinely, I want to know this, and that's why I ask everyone, what is your first BMX memory? What kind of bike was it? Who was there? What'd you do? What do you remember?
Yeah, that's easy for me. Now I say it's easy for me because this is what I remember, and that's what you asked. What was my first memory? If this is accurate, I don't know, but I'm quite sure. You look back, and you remember things, whether that was accurate or not. But this is how I remember it. I remember seeing Saturday morning commercials of this thing called BMX, right? And I thought that was just the coolest thing, and then I had brothers who were neighbor friends of mine, and I don't know if it was just a gift that their parents gave them, or if it was Christmas or what have you. But they roll up right in front of the house with these blue, uh, God only knows what kind of Kmart BMX bikes that they were, but they were blue. They had yellow macked wheels, and V bars, and probably junk. And I fell in love with what I saw with BMX.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I begged my father for a bike, and ultimately, Christmas morning came. I got a Team Murray track certified, and I was all about BMX, all about it. And then if I'm telling this correctly, I got promoted up to a Sears Free Spirit, right? So that was and that may not have actually been a promotion, but I thought it was back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my first recollection was seeing in living color what I was seeing in the Saturday morning commercials,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I was hooked at that point. Just absolutely loved this thing called BMX.
Was it the Mountain Dew commercial with Martin and Ron Wilkerson and everybody?
No, it had to be pre that because I remember that commercial very specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it had to be pre that because I'm not much younger than those guys, believe it or not. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that it was, something equivalent to that. But yeah, that's the same era, certainly.
All right. Well, after you had your Kmart bikes, what was your first real BMX bike?
I, I did the same thing then that I do now. I put bikes together, right?
Mm,
So I remember somehow or another trading around to get some kind of a cool frame and fork,
mm,
and then building that up with hodgepodge parts. Looking back, they may have been very good parts. Certainly, I would have loved to have that bike now. I did that 2 or 3 times, and then when I took off into racing, actually racing every Sunday, I raced just hodgepodge bikes of whatever I could put together, and didn't even care what it looked like. I just wanted to ride.
mm.
When I got into freestyle, my father finally broke down and bought me the worst freestyle bike that could ever possibly be produced, the Diamondback Hot Streak, the ones with the terrible fork, those fork standers that went straight out, right? There's no way to do anything with. But it had mag wheels, and it looked like a freestyle bike, right?
Mm.
So Dad broke down and bought me that, and I bent that. Like maybe the first month I got it, I bent the frame. Diamondback would not take it back, and from there, I graduated to a Haro Sport, and I've got God only knows what I've had since. But yeah, those were good times for sure.
Were you a flatland after racing? Were you in the flatland or park or ramps or just whatever you could ride?
Yeah, loved freestyle. Just went straight into freestyle, and BMX in my community in my town was really slowing down, and so I built a half pipe. A friend of mine and myself, I only had a couple of riding buddies. We built a half pipe, 8 foot by 8 foot, with a 16 foot flat, and obviously, if you have a ramp, you have friends, right? so, so I rode skateboard and vert. Loved vert. That was probably what I enjoyed the most, was riding vert.
Mm-hmm.
And for the day, and to really have no video to watch, everything was a magazine. I could hold my own for what I could do and for my skill level,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I loved vert. I was decent at flat, no better, no worse than I am now. I've never really improved, but yeah, I loved it all, really, to be honest with you.
Well, who were some of the riders that influenced you when you got into BMX, or when you got into freestyle?
Yeah, I think you know the answer to that.
I told you I'd coach you along, so.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yeah. So obviously, RL Osborn to this day is very much the superhero of freestyle for me. I remember in 1984 seeing the ad of him crouched down behind the white Redline RL20 Pro Styler. I now have that bike. I actually have the jersey, the jacket. I could mimic, and one day I will. I haven't done it yet, but one day I will kind of mimic that picture, that ad. And yeah, so I saw that, fell in love with RL Osborn, and I just kind of I followed RL mainly on flat.
Mhm.
For vert, it was Mike Dominguez.
Right,
I was
right.
huge Mike Dominguez fanboy all the way. Loved Mike Dominguez. Um, Obviously, you've got Eddie and Woody and all of those guys, but for flat it would be RL, and for vert it would be Mike Dominguez.
Have you met either of them in person?
No, sir.
No, sir. All
That
right.
day's coming
All
though.
right.
That day is coming though.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. So, this is how old about were you when you how do I say this? How old were you when you switched to from the Kmart bikes to the quote unquote real bikes? About.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say I'm going to say 14.
Okay.
I think it was my 14th birthday that Dad got me the Diamondback. I think I was 14, and yeah, and just began to ride hard at that point. But yeah, I think I was about 14 years old.
Okay, and how long did you ride before you started taking the adult route and BMX kind of got pushed to the side?
That's easy as well. Yeah, I when I turned 16, I got my first car. Right, you know the story. I got my first car, which by the way I still have, a 1984 Pontiac Fiero. Remember
Hmm.
those? And the two-seater four-cylinder sports car. I still have that car, and with that came my first girlfriend, of whom I am now married to and have been for 28 years, Melissa. And so I still rode and had a great interest until I was probably 18 or 19 years
Okay.
old. But obviously, at that point, it just, took a back seat, but it still stayed in the back
Hmm.
seat. It was still there. Yeah, yeah, it's probably, I think I was 18 or 19 when I just stopped riding altogether.
And how long was that pause between stopped riding and picked a bike up and just, yeah, I kind of want to do this again?
I couldn't tell you the number of years. I'd have to do my math, but it was probably 5 years ago.
No kidding.
And I'm 49 years old, so I'm going to say I was 43, 44, something like that. Maybe it was a little longer than I think, when I started riding again, and it was kind of strange. I don't know if you're going in this direction or not, but I just kind of took on this nostalgic, maybe almost midlife crisis kind of thing, where I just began to desire it again, right? Just desire it again. YouTube made that possible. The internet, social media made that possible. Begin watching videos, and I found an '89 dyno comp on Craigslist for like $80,
Wow.
and literally a buddy of mine, one of my riding buddies from Virginia, where I'm from, he texts me or calls me. We haven't talked in 30 years. He calls me and um, he says, when are you coming in to Virginia again, where I'm from?
Mm.
And I told him September. And he said, a bunch of us are putting together a ride. Would you like to ride with us? And I was like, yeah, but I don't have a bike. So, anyways, real quickly, I messaged the guy on Craigslist, bought the bike on my way to Virginia,
What?
rode with those guys, and was absolutely hooked. And you'll remember, Stony, you'll remember that at some point after that, I sent you the video of me trying to pick up the Miami Hopper. Remember
I
that?
absolutely remember that.
That was the weekend. That was the weekend. I had literally the day before picked up that dyno and had not ridden in nearly 30 years, about 30 years. And the next day began working on the Miami Hopper all over again and hooked, absolutely hooked. Couldn't get enough of it. And still ride almost every day now.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
so let's talk Unbelievable Grails. If
Okay.
you had to tell somebody what it is, what would you say?
Yeah. I might have to segue into that. Unbelievable Grails began after you and I met. I was watching what you were doing. I was putting together my own videos just for self enjoyment. So, just really enjoying whatever I could do as it pertained to BMX. And I wanted a way to catalog my videos. So I was building bikes, collecting, painting bikes. I was learning new tricks or learning old tricks. I was putting all that on video and wanted to catalog it. And so Unbelievable Grails did not. This is something very interesting that very few people know about. Even our admins probably don't know this story. Unbelievable Grails did not begin as a page that would ever have members or have hopes of 4,323 members. That was never really the purpose. I created a Facebook page as a place to put my videos, my pictures, almost like a diary of sorts that I could just keep forever. And I didn't know enough about Facebook and social media to know what I was doing. And sure enough, people began to request friend or membership. And so one by one, I just started making all kinds of friends. And then it kind of ballooned, and everyone just started joining Unbelievable Grails. So let me segue into the answering your question. I would say, in a nutshell, Unbelievable Grails is a place where people who enjoy BMX of all levels can, and any type of bike, can come and create a moment for their own nostalgia. And who cares what kind of bike you have? If you call it a grail, it's a grail.
Okay. So you have, I've noticed it's mostly collectors. Am I off with that?
Yeah, we're starting to get some more riders, but yeah, mostly collectors. And I'm going to walk and take you into the house because it's starting to get a little dark here.
Oh, okay.
But I can do this. Yeah. Yeah, mostly collectors, mostly builders. And now that we do a lot of the Grail Mail videos, a lot of people are beginning to kind of gravitate towards that. And I think energy
Oh, you're breaking up, buddy.
in the
Hold on. Time out. Time out. Time out. You're all fuzzy. Okay, wait. I have picture again.
are we back? Are we back?
We're almost back. Let's see. You shrank. Let me do a little adjusting here. All right, we're good. Wow, this is interesting.
Are we good?
Yes. Okay. This is funny because I have the backsplash of us talking is your garage, and now you're actually in the garage.
Yeah, it might take just a second.
Hold on one second. We're having some technical difficulties here. All right, we should be good again.
Okay. My apologies.
No, you're good. You're good. So I have to ask you this. It's mostly a collector page, and if you bought it, it's yours. Do whatever you want with it. That's how I feel. Not everyone feels that way. There are people who get salty about people who collect and build the bikes but don't ride them. What is your opinion, or do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we're free to make that that decision for ourselves. Personally, I ride every bike that I have. Um, I don't really have any carpet queens, though. You can see right there, as I do have some that are hanging. Or all my bikes are hanging, but they're hanging in arm's reach, right? So I can get them and I can ride them. Almost everything that I can reason has my fingerprints on it to a degree. I really enjoy custom. And at the same time, I appreciate those guys who are strict OG only. Never touch it. The way that they find it in a barn is the way that it needs to be. And I respect that. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I respect it. I do. And I'm also the same way with new school. Yeah, if you enjoy your bike, then enjoy it the way you want it. Don't let anyone pressure you into making it something that it should not be. Whatever you think it should be, that's the way it should be. That's how I feel. That's my take.
Okay. I do see you have a beautiful Redline RL20 looking bike right behind you over your shoulder. That
Yes, you
that you
do.
built, and I remember you collecting the parts for it, and I remember when you got it in the mail, and I remember the videos you were making trying to hide the parts from your wife. They were fantastic.
I still am.
Has she?
I still am.
How is she with your BMX? Because I know you have a lot going on.
Yeah, I do. But man, I got to tell you, um, I have an amazing wife. I have an amazing support system, and anything that I want to do, and she's a fan of Mike. I know that sounds crazy, but she loves me, and I love her. And if she wanted to spend my whole paycheck on herself, it would not bother me in the least. And the same vice versa. You know, she just like no questions, like no questions. And that spirit of trust, you know, it's an amazing, and it's an amazing thing. But yeah, Melissa's a great support system. I will say that BMX for me, and this will not happen for everyone, but for me, BMX pays for itself. So most of the bikes that you see in my garage, and right now it's a mess. I'm getting ready for a big party that's coming Sunday. But I have very little money in the bikes that I build because of the way that I do it. And BMX pays for itself, so she could care less, or couldn't care less. I'm not sure how you phrase that, but
Mike, I laughed so hard when you were in the bathtub. I don't remember, you were cleaning a frame or you were acid washing it, you were doing something, and she walks in. What are you doing? Nothing.
she says, are you washing your bike in my bathtub? And I said, it's my bathtub too, right?
That's awesome.
I would be lying if I told you that wasn't a little contrived, and the ultimate video that you saw was not the first take.
Oh,
let's just be honest.
Man.
So but she's fantastic. Melissa is amazing, truly.
Very cool, very cool. So where is it? I have to stand up and grab something, but if I do, it's going to show my pajamas, and I don't want everyone to see that. Hold on one second.
You're a hoot.
Let's see here. All right, Mike made me my own thermos, and I keep it next to my, well, I'll show you what I keep it next to. I keep it next to my autographed Crew Jones action figure.
That's awesome.
Those are I have a couple collectibles. So you're a preacher, you have your own power washing business. Are you a graphic designer, or you just experiment?
Oh yeah, I just play around with the graphic design stuff. I'm horrible with anything technological, but yeah, I've been pastoring for 28 years. I entered the ministry at the age of 21, believe it or not. Preached my first sermon at the age of 21 and began pastoring a church at about age 25, 26 years old. And yeah, most of my adult life has been in full-time ministry, sure enough.
Have you incorporated BMX into that?
Only right now. At this moment. No, not so much. I kind of maybe make a little bit of a separation there. Most people who know me as the funny guy, the jokester, the prankster, and but there is that serious, philosophical, spiritual side that most probably don't get to see. Once I turn on Unbelievable Grails, it's like wearing a cape. Just something happens. I step out of the phone booth and I'm now the BMX pastor. But yeah, not much ministry. I need to learn to incorporate that a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. If it happens if it happens, let it happen organically. Does that make sense?
Sure, sure, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I do not disagree with that.
So we've got all that going on, and in addition to everything else you do, you have a big interview coming up Sunday. You want to tell us a little bit about
Yeah, it's kind of probably, as far as I'm concerned, it's the biggest BMX event. I don't even know if you call it an event, whatever that it is. It's by far the biggest thing that has ever happened for me in
it? Mm-hmm.
BMX. I'm sure the person on the other side of the camera would not say so, but for me that it is. Yes, as I said earlier, I became an RL Osborn fan very, very early. Just followed his career all the way through. As you know, and you and I have been friends now for several years, you know that I don't know if I want to say jokingly, but not so realistically, hoped for an interview with RL Osborn. Sit down some way or another and talk to RL Osborn. And yeah,
Wait.
so this coming Sunday
Time
night,
out.
go
Let me jump
ahead.
in for 1 second. So back when I first started doing interviews, I think I had just interviewed Dave Norrie and I think Matt Hoffman that weekend. But Mike messages me and he's like, "Hey, if you're ever going to interview RL Osborn, can I do it?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And opportunity just didn't come up for quite a few reasons. Number one, he was just off the radar for years and years, and when he did come around, everybody swamped him, and so I didn't want to uh, I didn't want to jump on the pile. Like I know social media
That's
can
it.
be overwhelming, but Mike was like, if it's ever possible, I will go wherever I have to go. I would love to do that. And I was like, absolutely. So fast forward to probably a week ago, Mike.
Yeah, so the way that it happened for me, and you and I, by the way, are the same person in that. I okay, so I can't remember which happened first. I'll tell two real quick stories, and we'll try to connect
Okay.
those. It was Ron Wilton. Ron Wilton came out maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and he made some sort of a post. I can't remember if it was a video. I think he just a post and said something to the effect of he's coming back or he's coming back big, something of that effect. And he had posted that, if I'm not mistaken, on the RL Osborn tribute page. I think it's called "He's Still Alive" or something of that nature. And I'm a member of that page, and I saw that. Now, at the same time, or right around the same time, Melissa and I driving down the road. She's driving, and I'm checking my phone, and I get this notification that someone had commented on one of my videos, my redline videos. In fact, the build of the 22.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it, and it said RL Osborn, and I nearly freaked out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me!" So there's this thing: is this the real person? What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And his comment to my video was something like, "Very nice, Mike. Great job." Something just very generic of that nature. Mm-hmm. I just lost it. Fanboy came. I was resurrected right then. And so, of course, if you're like me, I don't want to be fanboy. I don't want him to think this is just some freak. So I very generically just responded with, "Hey, thank you for watching. More videos to come." Something totally stupid, I'm sure. I'll have to go back and look at my comments. Well, about that time, he came out on social media, and I don't know, man. I felt a certain I don't know why, but I felt a certain obligation to jump in there very early, not for the sake of of any interview or any other interaction whatsoever, but really for the sake of almost protecting him, because at this point, social media was not a new thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a veteran of social media, but I know that he wasn't.
Right.
I could tell very early that all of this is new to him. So I private messaged him. He actually requested my friendship. I'm not sure how that happened, but he requested my friendship. And then I messaged him with this, hey man, you owe us nothing. Take it slow. There are sharks out there, that kind of thing. And very immediately, this was probably 4 months ago, very immediately, he and I just struck up a friendship. And we just began talking almost every day, social media, via private messenger and so forth. And we, to this day, interestingly, to this day, and I don't know if he would say that we're close, right? I don't know if that's the word that we would, because you're right, he's being swamped. Mm-hmm. But to this day, we have never talked BMX.
Really?
Isn't that interesting? To this day, we talk about everything else, but we've never talked BMX.
Wow, that's some self-discipline.
That's nuts. It is. It's killing me. And by the way, thank you for saying that. And I don't mean to overtalk, but I wanted so desperately to ask for the interview. And I just held off and held off and held off. And then when he began to make these videos and everyone was jumping on, I messaged him one day and I said, hey, I want to protect you because I know that there are vultures out there, and you know that if I were to do this interview, we were talking on those lines, if I were to do an interview with you, it would not be for self-glory, it would not be for personal gain, but if you'll give me this opportunity, I will do you justice and kind of leading you in this journey. And that sounds so self-glorifying. I don't mean for it to, but I just really wanted to protect him from the vultures. And so that's how this interview began to develop.
Wow. And like, I know just through the people I've met how excited I get when you're interacting with someone that as a kid I don't want to use the word worshipped, but you kind of worshipped them, you know? Like these were super heroes to you. And then when you're interacting with it, like Bill Allen, perfect example. When I met him at Hell Track, and I asked him for the interview, he couldn't have been any cooler about it. And then we went to do it, and I froze up. I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm really sorry, but I am freaking out. You're Crew Jones. And he's like, come here, buddy.
Right.
bring it in. And he gave me a hug, and I'm like, Crew Jones is hugging me. Wow. And after that, it was great. Classic. And so when I hear that you get to have a similar experience, I know exactly how excited you are, and I know I'm excited for you. So this is very cool.
Yeah. I really wish that it were in person. Obviously, that's not with COVID and all that's going on. That's not a possibility. This is as good as it gets, and I'm perfectly fine with it. We do have a large number of guys coming from all around, several states all around. I'm in the greater Cincinnati, greater Dayton, Ohio area, and we're kind of a hot spot. This area is for BMX. And so Kentucky, Michigan, obviously Ohio, Indiana. I got guys coming from all around, and we're going to have an RL party at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, cook out, have a good time. Then we're all going to gather around, and I promised them anyone who comes can ask questions. I'm sure I'll be kind of moderating this, and we're going to have a great time. And then afterwards, we're going to go for a ride. several of us still enjoy some flat land. And we've got a hot spot here in town where we'll be stopping and riding. We'll do a lot of live videos the whole time via Facebook on the Grails page, and it's going to be a great night. This coming Sunday night, the interview begins at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and that's on RL's personal page. Immediately, it will then be uploaded to YouTube, his personal YouTube page.
On his personal Facebook page?
Initially, it'll be on his personal Facebook page, yes.
Okay.
And then his personal YouTube page, yeah.
And do you have the link for his YouTube page? Because if you send that to me, I can put it in the comments for this, just so people can find it easier.
I certainly will. Yeah, I certainly will. Absolutely. Yeah, wow. I'll make that happen.
That's a great idea to have an RL party. That's fantastic. It's like a welcome back, you know?
That's it. That's it. Well, you know, if quite honestly, if Mike Carmody had thrown a party, no one would show up. I had to put RL in there in order to get people to come to my home. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. And you said it, you know, you were a nervous wreck interviewing Bill and others and just froze up. And I'm doing things a little bit differently, I think, than what people are expecting. And I don't have to tell you, Stoney, that there's no pleasing everyone. Not every question is going to be asked. I'm going to have an hour and a half, however long that he allows. And the format is going to be very much, well, this is what it's going to look like. Instead of me asking RL direct questions, which I'm sure everyone wants to hear direct questions, but instead of doing that, I'm going to give him subjects, topics, and I'm just going to ask him to speak his mind on those subjects, and then allow the questions, as you said earlier, to derive organically instead of me having a whole list of things. Because here's the thing. If I had an hour with RL Osborn, I can think of an hour's worth of questions, but I don't know if that's what he wants to talk about.
Right.
And this isn't about Mike Carmody. This is about RL Osborn. And I want to know, in his mid to late 50s, RL, what are you thinking about right now? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give him those subjects and then say, talk. Just let RL Osborn talk. Okay. So it's going to be a great time.
That sounds like a good time. I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited to see it as a fan, and I'm excited for you as a friend. Like, that's
Thank
awesome.
you very much.
So, oh goodness, man, that opens up a whole new can of worms by itself. Are there any other interviews that you're looking into or wanting to do after this one?
Yeah, so very, very shortly, I will be interviewing Harry Leary, Turbo, as most of people know the Turbo. I don't have a date for that yet.
Okay.
However, let me see if I can pan around here real quickly. This is, can you see that?
I can see that.
That's the 1983 Harry Leary Turbo. And wow. So RL Osborn, RL was my favorite freestyler, encompassing all, but whether it be flatland, street, ramp, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Harry Leary was my all-time favorite racer. Yeah. And so I have the 20 that you see there.
Whoa.
Sorry.
We're on the ground.
That was me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have the 20, RL's first bike, and then I have the 22, and then and now I have the Harry Leary Turbo, and building that up. So I'm going to be building this up very, very soon, sending the frame off to Harry. He's going to sign it, do a video then. And I don't know if we're doing the interview at that point or if it's another time when I receive it. But nonetheless, I'll be doing an interview with Harry. And yeah, I'm going to tell you, if I could ever get Mike Dominguez on the phone, then just that's it.
He's kind of under the radar. I think he's kind of
he's elusive.
That way. Yeah, but it's
no doubt.
That's Mike Dominguez. If he wants to stay off the radar, that's on him. So be it.
That's it.
He's earned that. We are going to start wrapping things up slowly, but before we do, I wanted to know, what are your future plans for Unbelievable Grail?
Yes, you know, there's a lot to be said about that. And as you said, we're going to wrap things up. As I get older, I still have vision and desires and dreams for writing and for developing and morphing into more BMX. I have a thing now that very few people know about. It's called grasping for air. Have we talked about this?
No, I don't think we have.
Okay. Yeah, you can look it up on Facebook. It's not something that I've promoted, but I have another page that's just my own personal thing. I call it Grasping for Air. When I was a kid, and I rode half pipe, quarter pipe, my highest air was 5 feet, above coping, and that was a lot for a small town Bristol, Virginia kid, right? And so now that I'm 49, I have a goal of reaching that 5-foot air by my 50th birthday, or in my 50th year, which will be next year.
Okay.
And so right now I'm at about 1 foot. I can catch about one foot of air, and I'm hoping to develop that. But I call it grasping for air, right? I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that makes sense to me. I'm grasping for air. So I'm developing that. And as far as the Unbelievable Grails, I think the interviews and showcasing some more of these builds, that's probably the direction that I'm going with it.
Okay. Any meetups or events planned?
Yeah, okay, very good. I'll have to send you a link because we don't have the date set yet. But myself and our local guys, we put together our own show and swap meet here in Cincinnati Dayton area, mainly in the Dayton area. That's coming up in September.
Okay.
Lord willing, COVID will still allow for us to do that. But that last year was our first show swap meet, and it was quite large. We had an amazing turnout for that. And it was pretty good. But I'll keep you posted on what is going on with that. But besides the turbo interview, I don't have anything on the radar just yet.
Okay. Well, you never know what the future may hold,
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, that is. Let me make sure there's nothing else I absolutely needed to know. No, I think we're good. Well, as I said, we are going to wrap this up.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, please do.
If you could ask RL Osborn one thing, what would it be?
Who is on his Mount Rushmore of BMX?
That's awesome.
I want to know that because a lot of people would put RL Osborn on their Mount Rushmore of BMX. So I'd like to know, who would he put on the Mount Rushmore of BMX? That's my question for RL Osborn.
That's a great question. Maybe it would be Stoney McGee and Mike Carmody. Wouldn't that be awesome?
This is your time to shine. I just want to stand back and watch and enjoy it.
You're a blessing, brother. I want to say real quickly that, and I'm not one to flatter, but I do want to say that you're a beautiful person. I appreciate you. I appreciate not only what you've done, your contribution to BMX, which is huge. And I mean this sincerely. This is not lip service. I appreciate your contribution to humanity. And I mean that. You are quite an amazing person. And the evidence of that, I'm trying not to get too choked up here. But one evidence of that is your great care and love for your mother.
Stop it.
And I don't have a mom. My mom is in heaven. And I can tell you that I would love, more than anything, just to have a few minutes with my mom. That was 17 years ago that she died and went to heaven. You seem to cherish, and listen, I know it's overwhelming. I don't mean to suggest that it's easy or that it's just, that it's all roses. I know that it's not. In fact, it's probably the antithesis of that. But it's obvious that you care for your mom. At a distance, I care for your mom. I pray for you. I pray for your mom. I'm thankful for your brother as well, who helps out there. See, I do keep up, right? I do keep up. But thank you very much for being Stony. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for being a friend to BMX and to this world. We need more Stony McGee's in this world.
Well, let me piggyback onto that. I couldn't do any of this without John Yu, Steve Kolb, Dustin Reese, Trevor, Scotty Z, Kim, the whole group. But on behalf of everybody, I will say thank you. That is very kind of you.
Yeah. Amen. Very nice. Very nice.
So, all right. Man, that got heavy quick. In a good way.
In a good way.
So, all right. As I said, we're going to wrap this up. But before we do, Mike, you are a preacher, a self-made graphic designer. You do the power washing. If people want to get a hold of you to find out about any of that or Unbelievable Grails, how do they do it?
Yeah, I would say the very best way to get a hold of me would be absolutely social media, Facebook, Mike Carmody, Carmody. Look me up, private message me. Unbelievable Grails is probably one of the better ways of getting hold of me. I'll send you my email and people can correspond that way. But yeah, I'm always looking for more friends, and I'll be a friend to you. Reach out to me. I'm glad to respond.
Okay. Do you have any websites or any information you'd like to share with the OFG universe before we go?
Not a bit.
Okay.
Not a bit. Just Facebook is my main thing. Yep. You can find me on Instagram, but you just have to look it up.
Okay. Well, Mike, you are absolutely. Whoa.
I have made a few TikTok videos.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, believe it or not. You can watch me crash. You can watch me ride a little bit of vert and totally bail on TikTok.
I don't even know how to TikTok. That's the old guy in me. Well, Mike, awesome. You are absolutely a friend of OFG, a friend of the channel. If you have anything that you would like to or need to promote, please feel free to reach out. You are always absolutely welcome. And thank you for hanging out tonight and doing a live stream. And good luck on Sunday. Yeah. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see it. So, let's see. We are going to give you a chance for a last word, Mike.
Yep, Sunday night, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're a member of, or if you're a friend of RL Osborn on his page. And then regardless, as soon as the interview is over, his guys will put that, his son Dylan is actually his tech guy, will put that over on YouTube. I will then put that on the Unbelievable Grails page, and BMX history will be made. Hey, it's the first visual interview in over 30 years. So, I mean, I'm fanboy, totally gushing right now. So it's going to be exciting.
All right. I will be there. I hope you will be there, and we will watch Mike make BMX video history. Mike, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone for watching.
All right. I'm going to close Mike's window. Wait. All right, and that is going to be a wrap. So I wanted to say thank you for tuning in. If you would like to, and thank you to Mike for hanging out. If you would like to support the channel, you can do so by going to www.ofgbmx.com. You can check out some shirts. I got a couple jerseys left. There's some stickers. Just go check it out. Other than that, that's all I got. So everybody be good to each other, be safe out there, and ride on. Peace out, friends.